I am arbitrating is my morals, my moral stances.
So then the only way we can have good is if it's good to you.
Yeah, of course.
So then if that's the case, then all things, you are the ultimate arbiter.
All right, let's dive in. Today we've got Andrew Wilson going head-to-head with a woman who seems determined to redefine rights until the word has no meaning. It's like watching someone play philosophical Jenga, pull out enough blocks, and the whole tower collapses. So let's break it down, one contradiction at a time.
Force is the way that the rights are protected.
Well, it's the only way they can really exist.
No, they do exist. You admitted that concepts exist, right? So like somebody can...
I can grant that they exist, sure.
Right. So they do exist without force, quote unquote.
Well, no, not actualizing them though.
So you didn't get clear what you mean by actualizing.
Yeah, so if you want to have the right to freedom of speech and there's nobody around, I suppose you would have the right to freedom of speech because you're the only mind which has this concept in it. But if you come into contact with another mind who says you don't have the right to freedom of speech, right? How do we determine which mind actually has a right here and which one doesn't? We can't, right? We just say you have a concept in your mind and you have a concept in your mind. But this rights thing, right? This thing doesn't really exist. Just this concept is what exists.
See, you keep saying it doesn't really exist. Of course it exists. Like you said, if you're on the island and nobody's there to infringe upon that right, even if somebody does infringe upon that right, you could still say, well, that person has the right to life. They have the right to speech.
Then people have the right to kill other people if they want to.
Well, that's not what I said. Per that person, they...
No, it is what you're saying.
They would...
It's an
to them,
extension of what you're
that
saying.
statement would be true.
Okay.
To them.
If it is the case that collectively society decides that they have a right to enslave women, they do in fact have that right in reality to do that, don't they?
If you're saying that they're acting on what they believe is to be a right, then yeah. That's what they're doing. That's trivially
true. So then what is...
That doesn't... So these are descriptive claims, though.
Yeah.
I'm not interested
well,
in
right now, we're
claims.
just making sure that we have this... So I just want to make sure I got this right and that we're not speaking past each other. Rights are real as concepts. Concepts are real. Yes? So therefore, if it is the case that conceptually people want to enslave all women... and they call that concept a right, then they would have the right to enslave women, and that would be a real right that they would have, right?
To them?
Yes.
What you're missing is the index. So, like, when I say...
The index. This is where people start throwing academic words around to hide the fact that they're saying nonsense. If you need a glossary to explain your position, maybe your position isn't as airtight as you think.
Like, when I say I have... a right, I am talking, like I said, about more so a belief or a value sometimes is what I'm referencing. So when somebody says, like, even if someone was in prison wrongfully, maybe, like they didn't actually commit a crime, but it was believed that they committed a crime. And that person said, I have the right to be free. Now, they're not saying something nonsensical. You understand, like, what that person is saying. They're saying, I desire to be free. It's wrong. And what they mean by, it's wrong is it goes against their values for them to be imprisoned.
It goes against their preferences, right?
Yeah, in that case, so that statement is true.
Yeah, sure. But it's equally true to say, no, we're going to keep you a slave.
Not to that person.
Yeah, not to that person, but just to the other people.
But once again, not to that person and not to me, certainly.
But if it is the case that rights themselves being a value of the concept of the mind, these concepts are real, then that would mean that all people who were slaves had the right to be free. That's true. But also that all people who enslave people had the right to enslave them. And that's also equally true, correct?
If what you mean, like we can substitute...
No, this is what you mean.
Yeah, if you let me finish sentences, I can do that.
Okay.
So when you have the people who are enslaving other people, if what you mean by those people saying, I have the right to enslave these people, is that those people are, substituting out their words for like, I have the value that these people are enslaved, then to them, that is true. They do, in fact, have that value.
So for you, a right is simply... Wait, I'm confused now. Now I'm actually confused on your view. You said a right is just a belief?
Okay. I get why Andrew's confused. Her definition of a right keeps sliding between concept, belief, and value. It's like trying to pin Jell-O to the wall. You can see the shape, but nothing actually sticks. And that's the problem. If a right is just a belief, then every contradictory belief is equally valid. Slavery, oppression, theft, they're all just beliefs clashing, with no objective way to say one is wrong. Andrew's not lost. He's pointing out the moral absurdity hiding in plain sight, and she's standing right in it.
Yeah, I think, well, when you were talking about like concepts, yeah.
Okay, if it's just a belief, then it's an equally true belief that these people over here, their right to enslave you exists.
It's equally true, and because the wording, I think people use this wording in a weird way sometimes. What would be more accurate to say is that that person desires this, they value this, or they prefer this.
Okay, so what gives them the right to something?
That's what I'm saying that the right is. So like
So
usually
it's just
when
a
you
belief.
talk about, well,
Yeah.
you can talk about rights as social contracts, and maybe they're violating a social contract in that way. But when I say like I have a right to be free, a lot of the times what I'm expressing is like, you know, a very strong desire or something like
Yeah,
that.
just a belief that you have.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what those people are saying. So if you're just saying it is true that those people, to them, it is true, I have the right to enslave this person. And if you substitute what they mean by that, by I desire to enslave these people or I have a strong will to do so, then that's trivially true. You don't disagree with that, certainly.
Well, with your view, no. This is great. You have to concede that the right is real, that people collectively have the right to enslave people, and that is real. Concepts are real.
And what you
this
mean
belief is real.
by right is it's real in the sense that they do in fact believe or value that thing. Yeah, that is
Now,
true
is
that
that
they in fact believe and value
is
those
that
things.
belief that you can hold people in slavery? Is that a belief which I mean, obviously you're against it, right? I'm
Right.
not saying you're not.
Of course.
But that belief, this value which is real, this concept which is true, they actually do have the right to do this. Is that morally worse than your view that they shouldn't?
To me, yeah.
To you. And that's it, only to you, right? Because it doesn't
Yeah, of
make you feel
course.
good, right?
If I'm, well, you can say words like that, like you can say, doesn't make me feel good. That would be more in line with somebody who takes some like emotivist view on that type of thing. But I'm fine with saying that, you know, there's a proposition that, you know, that is wrong. And by that, I mean that, you know, that's something that goes against my values.
Got
or
it.
my desires or preferences
So
in a very strong way.
now we've untangled all of that. This argument actually becomes much easier. So the goal of feminism is to push people or push women specifically towards materialism and not duty. And I think that the belief of people in duty is much more important than the belief of people in materialism. So I think that the idea of having duties to nation, the idea that having duties to family, the idea that having duties to community far outweigh the idea of the right to pursue whatever trivial, meaningless material pursuit that you have. That duty should come first, and that society would look better if they did.
Now here's where Andrew's on fire. Because duty to family, to community, to nation actually requires sacrifice and responsibility. Materialism, on the other hand, is just chasing stuff. And somehow, that gets celebrated more than duty. It's like we've swapped building civilization for collecting things that don't matter. And Andrew's pointing it out loud and clear.
Well, that's okay. There's a few things here. That moves from a descriptive claim to like a applied claim, or like a
Agreed.
normative claim, or a pragmatic thing. And then there's the other type of thing where it's like you say feminism has like pushed us towards these things, towards these material.
Yeah, do you want a demonstration for that?
Well, really quickly, you think that feminism is pushing people towards subjectivism, and that's bad. Like there's a two-pronged claim there, right?
No, less so towards subjectivism, more so towards materialism.
Okay, well, it kind of seemed like you were doing a little bit of equivocating here
What's the equivocation?
between subjectivism and materialism. But if you're not, then maybe we can kind of like go
I didn't
back
bring up
through that.
subjectivism there, just
Well,
materialism.
that was what we were just talking about.
No, what we were talking about is after we untangle all of the concepts, all we're really talking about is just everything reduces to beliefs. So all of these concepts of rights, everything else just reduces, at least to you, to believe. I believe thing. which is fine. It's just equal for me to say I believe opposite thing, and those are just as morally valuable as the other, at least from your view.
Well,
that's all I was
no,
establishing.
that's not true. That's not true, actually. So that's a misunderstanding. So
Oh.
when you say that they're equally morally as valuable, well, they're not equally morally as valuable to me.
Yeah.
And then there's a pragmatic claim where we can kind of discuss after that, like, okay, well, let's say we have conflicting values. Then what? What the fuck do we do? It's more so we can then look at, okay, well, what's maybe some underlying values that we share, where we can build off of that.
I'm aware of all of that, but no, that would still reduce to relativism then, right? Like, how can you make ever a claim that some other mind, whatever their moral proposition was, if everything is just based on your preference is less good than your preference? How I don't even know how that can be done.
You don't how you just explained it, where you're saying that the things that are good to you aren't the things that are good to me. So you might say, well, these are subjectively good to me, and therefore they're equally as good as the things that you believe. And my response to that would be, no, I don't believe that, because the things that are good to me are my values. Your values don't meet mine.
Perfect. So then you believe that you are the architect of all morality.
And by that you mean?
Everything for which you believe is the ultimate form of morality.
Ultimate form in what way?
There's no other, and no counter moral claims made to you are ever going to be as good as the moral claims you make.
There can be counter moral claims that are made to me that appeal to my values that maybe I'm not aware of, or that I have like conflicting underlying values
they're
that
only
I'm not
good
currently
because you then prefer
thinking
them,
about that.
right?
Sorry?
The only thing that make them good is that you then prefer them.
Yeah, there could be something like that.
Yeah,
where
so then you would be the ultimate
if
architect.
I adopted them for my morality, right? Like that would make that thing good to me.
Well, your morality is the only thing that is good, though.
To me.
Well, what else is good except good to you?
So look, I just said that. It's the thing that I am arbiting is my morals, my moral stances.
So then the only way we can have good is if it's good to you.
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
so then if that's the case, then all things, you are the ultimate arbiter of goodness.
Of my standard of goodness.
There can't be any other standard of goodness.
There is. I agree. Do you think that I am denying that other people have their own standards?
This is circular. I'm
What's
making
circular?
the argument. I don't know why you're not agreeing with it.
You can really see his frustration here. It's maddening to debate someone who keeps spinning in circles. Every point you make comes back around like a boomerang, except this one never lands anywhere useful.
Only things which are good to you are good.
The things that are good to me are good to
Nothing
me.
else is good except things good to you. Nothing else is good except things which you find
Well, there can
good.
be other people who agree with
That's
the
not
things
my
that I find to be
question.
good.
What's
So
my
then
question?
those things are good to me and good to them.
Yeah, but they're only good because they're good to you.
They're only good because they're good to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's things that are good to me, and I can convince other people that they should
No, there's
also
only
find those things to be good.
Can anything be good unless it's good to you?
Are you saying that can I approve of something and not approve of something at the same time? Well, no.
Yeah, right. So then all goodness comes from you.
All goodness comes from me?
It would
no.
have to.
That my standards of good come from me, of course.
Is there any other standard other than yours which is good?
Relative to me?
No.
Unless it aligns with my idea or value,
Yeah.
then no.
Then you are the ultimate arbiter of goodness.
Of my own.
That's the
What's
only kind
confusing?
that there is. There is no other kind.
No, there
We've
are-
reduced this like 6 times. It always comes
Look,
back to
if we
be
look
good.
at good as values, right?
Yeah.
I'm not denying that you have values. I'm not denying that Brian has values. I'm not denying that, Joshua down the road has values.
Yeah.
So there are things that are good to those other people. But relative to me, unless they align with my values, they're not
so
good.
then you are a moral relativist.
Look, I'm fine with if you want to call that more
Well,
relativism.
what else would it
that's
be
fine.
when you say it's relative to you is relative to me?
Exactly. This is the dead end of relativism. If all morality is relative to taste, you can't make universal claims. Oppression, injustice, even human rights violations. All just bad to me. Andrew's putting her squarely in that moral abyss.
So where does that bring us? Look, if I just say, look, I am a moral relativist, fine,
That
whatever
would be,
you want to call it,
yeah,
what
that
label
would
you
be
want to put on it.
fantastic. We at least make some headways, because what I'm saying to you is that from a prescriptive claim, then, if it's all just relative, then You can't really say that Islam enslaving women is morally bad. It's just morally bad to you, right? And
No, I am saying that. It is morally bad to me.
And because you can only say it's bad to you. But because it's relative, right? You can't.
It's probably bad to a lot of other people too, but it is bad to me.
But you just said that it's relative. Like, you can't make the claim, really, since it's relative.
Wait,
They're
why?
good to them. It's good to me.
Why?
Well, because otherwise, then just admit you're the ultimate arbiter of all goodness.
Look, that even if I accepted that semantic usage there, that I'm the ultimate arbiter of goodness, which I would add that asterisk on the end that, like, no, I'm the ultimate arbiter of my moral values and my goodness. I mean, that's fine. That doesn't bring us anywhere else. I can still look at people and go, the things that they're doing don't match up with my values, and that to me is bad.
Yeah, but my claim is that it would have to then necessarily be, and at least it seems to be from all the questions you've answered, that if they don't match up with your values, that is what is bad, and only things which match up with your values are what is good, and nothing else is good.
To me.
And but
I don't disagree. Do you think
if
that
it's only focused on you, who else could it be focused on?
Do you think? Well, those people have their own values, and to them, things are good. So to them, those things are good. To me, those things are bad, and they don't meet my values.
Okay, got it. So then, when we're talking about duty, right? And here's my claim. Then, I think that duty to materialism makes things bad. That's my claim. I think that, materialism itself generally makes society worse for people to live in. And so I'm going to try to appeal to your values here and ask you, do you think that materialism itself is good for society? Or do you think it's bad for society? The way that I framed materialism.
Material goods can be fulfilling?
That the movement towards materialist goods being fulfilling over other things like duty is bad for society.
I'm not sure what it means to have something like a material good. Maybe you can give me an example of that, a material good being over a duty or something like that. What do you mean?
A material good being over it? Well, so a duty or a value of a duty be some type of conception of a thing that you feel you must do, even if it doesn't give you any sort of pleasure. There's nothing that you gain from this, right? Generally, materialism is the opposition to the pursuit of material things for the purposes of pleasure or fulfillment or something like this.
So here's the bottom line.
Reduce rights to mere belief. Reduce morality to personal taste. And you end up in a world where slavery could be a right, and goodness is just whatever you feel like. Honestly, this is why I get a little suspicious of people who toss around phrases like, "this is my truth," or "own your truth." It's a neat way to dodge responsibility. Andrew's argument isn't just academic. It's a reality check. Duty, responsibility, and shared values actually matter. Materialism and moral relativism, they just weaken society. If you enjoyed breaking down this debate with me, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more reactions where we cut through the nonsense and get straight to the logic. With a healthy dose of sarcasm, of course.